Welcome back to the Deep Plea. In this podcast, we aim to have deep conversations about all sorts of interesting topics to engage with and learn more from the world around us. My name is Karthik. The guy on the other side of the mic is Sven, and
Hello, hello.
today we're going to be talking about comedy, more specifically, the art of laughter, which is an approach to hard topics. Let's get into it with a quote for today. It's been a while. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yeah,
TV comedy that self-consciously defines itself as comedy is taking on subjects like racism and sexism and inequality and issues including police brutality and trigger warnings and intersectional feminism and helicopter parenting and the end of men. Its jokes double as arguments. The Atlantic. Sven, what do you have to say about this quote for today?
yeah. I kind of feel like this quote reflects this idea that we use comedy almost as a coping mechanism for things that may be controversial, and it's also another way to kind of get down to some sort of objective truth about society. For the minimal example, a kid growing up in school and he's chubby, and people kind of like make fun of him because he's chubby, and it's a comedy, but there's a level of truth to why they're picking on him is because there's chubbiness. And I feel like when it comes to comedy and we're talking about real world issues, it's almost a way to bring attention to a topic without being like very strict and stern about it, but it still has the capacity to raise awareness, and also kind of make fun of different parts of society. But I kind of do think that when it comes down to it, jokes that double as arguments makes a lot of sense, because if I wanted to say something to somebody, but I didn't want to like command them or demand them, it would kind of be a way for me to let them know about something, but in a way that's humorous. So it's like lighthearted. So it wouldn't be like a direct insult. Although it will be an insult, a lot of people will just take that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's movies like Fight Club, right? Which
Yeah.
they don't necessarily have this comedic approach, and I think those things are very unique. So we might try and like tell people like, "Hey, men are falling." That and then maybe that's it because that was a message of Fight Club, right? Um,
Right.
and they had it in a very specific way that was very tailored. It was just like perfect in that movie. But however, if we say that on a daily basis, like if I just go and tell my friend that, he might just be like, no. But if I maybe
Right.
say it in a joking way, then instead of him saying, no, he opens up with laughter and then, people will slowly start to lower their guard down and we can discuss either difficult topics or just completely taboo topics that we wouldn't even
Right.
think of talking about. Um, so sometimes a way to bridge people together can be through comedy. I mean, everybody, you know how they say like everybody smiles, you can bring everybody together through
Right.
smiling because, smiling is everybody's language. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
they say music is a language of everybody, right? So
Right.
you can really communicate with anybody and just open up your argument space to be much more than it would be if you just go hard. So
Yeah.
let's start with our easy question for today. How does comedy actually loosen us up to be vulnerable to discussing new and difficult topics? Sven, what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like what we kind of discussed about. It's a way, like you said, of letting the guard down. It's also kind of it makes people also sometimes not think about maybe like other issues. So like if you're vulnerable about some sort of insecurity, but then someone says something about something else to somebody else, then you kind of forget about yourself and then you laugh at the other thing. So it kind of takes away your self-image or whatever that you're kind of thinking about that's stressing you out, and it puts your attention to something else that's funny. And I guess laughter, I don't know the exact science behind it, but of course in the body it releases certain like hormones or like or what's it called, like endorphins and stuff. And they say laughter is the best medicine, because in the midst of laughter, like when you're laughing really hard, it's almost like watching a movie where you just escape and you forget about like
Yeah,
what's
the
going on
same.
in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just
So
forget. Yeah.
exactly. So it like kind of puts you in that state, and sometimes you laugh so hard that your stomach hurts, but then it's almost like after an exercise where you kind of actually feel relaxed,
Yeah.
because like all the muscles are tightening. So I think in that way it actually loosens us up. Sorry, loosens up. Oh my god, I can't even speak. Loosens us up as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I
That's
think
kind of
that's
like what
a
I'm thinking about.
yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, if we laugh so much that we forget stuff, right? Then in a conversation, if let's say we're in a conversation of friends and someone says something that's totally out of pocket, then
Yeah.
maybe it's even taboo. Then everybody starts laughing, but then everybody lets their guard down to that taboo topic, like I discussed
Right.
earlier, because when you laugh and you laugh your stomach out, let's say, you're
Yeah.
actually in a way like clearing out your biases towards that topic. Because
True.
if you're forgetting things, then oh, you're forgetting your biases. You're just in the moment. You know, you don't have the past experiences of
Mhm.
uh, oh, maybe this person was mean to me discussing this topic before, or
Right.
whatever it might be. You just start laughing, and then maybe, someone says out of pocket joke, and then um, someone else will start laughing, and then they'll say another out of pocket joke, and then everybody just kind of gets a kick out of it, even though it's supposed to be something, I guess, difficult. But that vulnerability, you know, is actually a little bit easy to enter into because obviously we can resist our urges to laugh, but that doesn't really like do any good. Why not just
Right.
laugh?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Especially because it'll make you feel happier with the release of endorphins and what
Hmm.
else.
There's
Uh,
also like something funny about what like you people laugh, even babies, they'll laugh at like people getting hurt because you're not getting hurt and you're seeing you're seeing someone else happen. And just like what you said, it's like you're kind of putting yourself aside and you're just laughing at that thing because you're not getting hurt. And it's kind of funny that we watch these videos of like people falling and stuff and we find it comedic. I don't know exactly why, but I thought that was interesting
yeah, like
too.
Fail Army, the dude,
You're right. Yeah.
when the dude who's on a BMX bike, like friggin' penis to the pole type stuff.
Yeah. Face plants.
All right, let's get into our hard question of today. In the realm of comedy, where is the line drawn between pushing boundaries and potentially causing harm or offense? How do we navigate the delicate balance between using comedy as a tool for social commentary and ensuring it remains respectful and inclusive? So I'll start with this one. I have a personal example of this one. So I was at lunch with some friends, and I forget exactly how the topic was brought up, but we were talking about love languages, and
Mm.
one of the friends had left the table. I think it was about six of us. One of the friends had left the table, and this is my close friend, and I went completely out of pocket in a way, and one of my other buddies was like, "Oh, I think that guy has X love language, or maybe this one or something," and I was like, "He doesn't have any." Or something.
Yeah.
Uh, it was something like that, but maybe I pushed the line, pushed the boundaries, and I didn't want to tell that directly to his face, but
Hmm.
I think there's a certain way of being like completely out of pocket every once in a while
Yeah.
that is kind of unique to individuals. Because let's say we generally tell jokes and stuff. Sure, we might make some people laugh, but there's that other side of you, that other potential side of you where you can let loose every once in a while and just say a joke that just goes over the boundary. And, at the end of the day, it is words, so they do have some effect, but they don't have
Hmm.
as much effect as they might possibly. I guess
Yeah.
I guess if we're talking one to one, the line is drawn by the recipient of our jokes and humor. If they can't tolerate that level of joking, perhaps it might be impossible to decipher who is actually in the right and who is in the wrong.
Mm.
We have to, let's say I tell you a joke about, I don't know, just like you live in Philadelphia. So let's say I tell you a
Yeah.
joke about Philadelphia and there's like you don't like it, but I don't know why you like it. Maybe there's something
Hmm.
inside your brain, like some past, history with Philadelphia, and you don't like the joke I told you, but I don't know why because you don't
Right.
want to tell me. So that could be another problem. Sven, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I was thinking with your friend example that when you talk about remaining respectful, comedy can kind of be a way of communication that's respectful because let's say your friend had, let's say he didn't have a love language, like actually, let's say that, he was struggling to find someone and he just wasn't like a loving person. I don't know, just a random example. And you kind of said a joke respectfully about it to kind of give acknowledgement without saying anything direct for him to kind of take and think about. I think it's interesting, this idea. Um, but yeah, I mean, to ensure respectfulness and inclusiveness, I think that comedy should never have bounds, because I think that if you restrict this form of communication, then you stop the potential spread of different ideas or knowledges just in any capacity at all. I think there should never be a limit on these things. If something you don't like it, then get away from it. Don't watch certain comedies, or don't hang around certain people if they're that way. But I really don't think that there should be limitations. And we see today there's a lot of comedians who have been canceled, but they've been saying the same jokes 10 years ago or 5 years ago, actually probably more like 8-10 years, and then now they say them today. But because our the climate of our culture is so hot right now, that they get canceled and their career ends because we're putting these limitations. We're saying that they're disrespectful, but comedy should not really have that, and only watch it or go to the shows or whatever it is if you're okay with it. And I think that through and through, again, if we do restrict, like if we try and make things inclusive and stuff like that, it's just going to maybe not produce even the high quality comedy that could have been, because we're putting limitations on things. And how is things going to prosper? How are we going to move forward? And I guess in the realm of comedy, if we have these limitations just because someone feels that they've been insulted or something, it's like it's kind of ridiculous to me to think that
Yeah, maybe
you
that
know
is the wrong question in a sense, because if we want to make sure it remains respectful, well, comedy as it is not respectful. We tell
right,
jokes to not necessarily cause harm, but to show a different light of like how, let's say, someone is stupid or something like
right,
that.
right.
And let's say I tell a joke about like gay people back 10
Yeah.
years ago, then I tell it today. Well, I'm still, I guess, maybe I'm still being inclusive of those people, and like,
Yeah.
I'm still saying, hey, you guys exist. I'm not necessarily disregarding you. So I don't know, maybe there's something in there, to
Right.
think about.
And also I think the audience, like who we're kind of serving to, is important too, because you'll see like SNL skits about politicians, and you'll see these other skits about other politicians, and the one side will say this is rude and the other side will say this is funny, because the audience is important here to decipher what's inclusive and what's not, and what's respectful and what's not. So I
Mm.
think the audience is also important to understand, like, where you're coming from, as in terms of comedy. But
Okay, so this would be a good place to end. However, it's been a while and I've thought about some new ideas, so we're gonna try and do a little practical example here. And we're gonna try to use comedy to lighten up death and mortality. So I don't know how this will go, but we're just gonna wing it. So I got a joke
um,
for you, Sven.
yeah.
You know that death always has the last laugh in our lives.
That's a good one.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's just funny. We think that we're the ones making the jokes, but actually, death will say, "Yeah, I guess you told you some nice jokes in your life, but I'll take care from now, or I'll take over
Yeah,
from now."
yeah,
Right?
yeah. I have one. It's like, take risks in life. Life is so risky, you won't make it out alive.
Wait, that's funny. Oh, that's good.
So just take the risks.
Take the risk, YOLO, because it's true.
Yeah, you ain't making it out alive. So why are you trying to hide from the world? Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna live forever.
Why are you trying to prolong your,
The
life
inevitable,
or suffering or whatever it might be?
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess what's your legacy, Sven? Death.
Yeah. Seriously.
Uh, okay, maybe
Oh,
it's a
is there
bit
anything else?
short. I don't know. You
Yeah,
have
I don't know.
any?
We'll get better at them as we
Yeah, we'll
try,
get
I guess.
better as we go with the practical examples. But thank you
Yeah.
very much for watching this episode.
Thank you.
I hope it was useful for your ears and entertainment. We'll
Yes.
catch you in the next one. Goodbye.
See you.